guys, it's me. I'm back. What's up, party people? We're like, Mads, come on. No! All right, this show is taking a turn for the. Oh. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of MONSTERBASS Live. I'm your host, Rick. Drinking a mango bubbly today because we're out of everything else. Not a big fan of these sparkly bubbly waters. I either feel like it's something my grandfather would drink or something my kid would drink, and my kid drinks a lot of them, and that's why I've got one in the back house fridge. But welcome. I hope you guys are having a great week. Excited to be here. I'm still kind of recovering from the 4th. You know, I had people at my house for 18 days. It's a lot. It's a lot, especially when they weren't taught by their parents on what a dishwasher is used for. 18 days. But we got a great show for you today. We're gonna talk about, as you know, ICAST is coming up, and we're gonna talk about some of the new baits that you're liable to see there. I've got my personal feelings about ICAST. It's evolved over the years. But before we get into that, Raphie's on vacation today, so he won't be there. And he won't be manning the chat. Maybe Bethany will be there. I don't know. But I want to say thank you to you guys for tuning in, taking time out of your day to be with us. It's a pretty good day. Yeah, I'm getting ready to go. I'm getting ready to go away on Friday. I'm taking 28 kids on a plane. So 28 kids, I'm going to meet them at LAX, and we're going to take an overnight flight. We're going to take an overnight flight to Washington, D.C., and then we're hopping a charter bus 5 hours to heading over to West Virginia to take them to Scout Summer Camp. It's going to be so much fun. I'm going to do some fishing, I'm going to do some shooting, some zip lining, some whitewater rafting, all sorts of cool stuff. Feel like it's my last hurrah. Maybe I got one more in me. We'll see. Really depends on my son. I don't want to be that old guy that's there that doesn't have kids and he's taking like a bunch of kids to summer camp. I always made fun of that guy as a kid, and I don't want to be made fun of now. So, but who knows? I'm really excited, and the best part about it is they don't know it. But I already got upgraded, so thank God for my credit card miles and or my status. I got upgraded, so when they're sitting there packed in the back, I'll be sitting there cozy in the front, and I don't feel guilty about it at all. But all right, let's get this show started. I want to remind everyone that the phone lines are going to be open, and we're going to talk a little bit about the ICAST baits, and we'd love to know what your thoughts are on some of this stuff. But before we get into it, let's go grab Chris and see what he's up to. How's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Good to be here.
Hey, how are you? How was Run Travis Run?
Run Travis Run. I'm telling you, I've never seen a bigger collection of folks out running a 5K that are covered in tattoos. So it's a whole new demographic in the fitness world. Travis showed up, did his thing. Miss Kardashian, so Courtney, she came out as well. She actually, she was there. She ran the 5K. So it was pretty cool to be a part of something where celebrities, a lot of times they stamp their name on something and then they're not a part of it. They actually showed up. They did it. And so I think I'm leaving next Thursday to go do that in New York as well.
Huh.
And so
now what is this run for? What's the cause?
So, it was the Los Angeles Boys and Girls Club was the fund, like the philanthropy piece. You could actually give them a donation. You could win tickets to Blink 182. Travis has an entire line of Barker Wellness. So if people know Travis Barker as a drummer, Blink 182, he grew up on a couch. His mom died the day before he went into high school. He was a trash man. Like you start to learn more about people and you think like, oh, these people are so different than all of us. We have so many things in common. And he went the whole gamut, talks about drug abuse, all these different things. And now he's all about health and wellness and getting people outside. And it's like, I can't get behind something more than that. So we had like this breath work dude that came in the morning and he led a breath work class. and he's got face tattoos, and he's like the nicest, kindest guy, teaching 1,000 people or more how to set their intentions to put it out in the universe, how we're all together. It was pretty rad. So then they went out and ran a 5K, and then he had his concert that night. So a whole new group of runners. I got to be on the stage laughing, goofing off, making jokes, and kind of like, what I like to do. And then we went surfing for a few days. We camped for a day down at San Onofre on the bluff.
So nice.
I just tell everyone, don't go to Southern California beaches 4th of July weekend. Just note to self.
No.
So stupid that was when it was, but hey, can't change the timing of the event. But man, it was cool. The beaches were amazing. There was a south swell. The waves were good. Stoked, got the family out there, and then we're already back. So
good.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I love it. Well, it should be a pretty quiet show today. No Raphie, but you know, he's in New York and manning one of his many positions, and he will be missed. But you know, we got ICAST coming up. It's our industry's biggest trade show, and you know, normally I would be there, and I think normally you would be there too. Yeah. But not this year. How come you're not making the trip?
Just timing. Just so much connection to like, what do you do? What do you get out of ICAST? We talked about having the fish socks have a booth there, but you can't sell to customers. It's only for retail connections. And then do you have a better chance to meet retailers with individual meetings? So you mentioned, and you didn't even talk about it, but what ICAST once was to what it's evolved to. Is it like the day you walk around and you're all cool NASCAR out in your fishing jersey? What does it mean to be at ICAST and like deal with the vendor opportunity in a 10x10 booth when Yeti has a storefront giving away $60 tumblers and people are lined up for 3 hours just to get a free tumbler? Like who cares? Who doesn't have like some kind of cup to drink out of?
I'm pretty sure we all have a drawer in our cupboard that, or in the cabinet full of them. Like
I'm not here to like. I'm a supporter of Yeti. Right? I like their stuff, but I'm not going to stand in line for 3 hours at a retail show, especially if I'm a business and I'm paying ambassadors to be working my booth, and then they leave to go get their $12 cup or whatever. Yeah. So, you know, it's cool to see the new products. I think there's some neat piece of the exclusivity, but most of the products have already been released by the companies. So you kind of lose a little bit of that. So I don't know. I like it. I like to support it. I like the idea behind it. I think bringing the entire community together gives a chance for the community to drive the movement of what fishing is. I'll tell you though, going back to surfing, and this is off topic, being at San Onofre, family barbecues, everybody's hanging around. I was talking to my son about this today when I was working. In bass fishing, it's normally like 2 guys on a glitter boat going as fast as they can, trying to get away from everyone to fish in a spot where they're not seen. Whereas in surfing, you're fish. And my son's like, well, that's not how we bass fish. And I think there's this disconnect of we bass fish on a pontoon boat with a party, and we're having fun, and I'm having fun watching somebody else fish. And I think Monster Bass community is probably similar to that. But then you go to ICAST and the industry lead is maybe leading us towards tournament angling. But now like ICAST has all these brands that are coming in that are kind of cool looking and bougie. And, you know, you talked about having this influence from overseas and like swim baits. So it's going to be interesting to see what ICAST brings out. The reason I mentioned that is like, I pose a question at the start of the show. What's the golden rule of bass fishing? I would love to know that. Like, what's the theme, the commonality? Like, what are we all together as like this community of anglers? I don't know if we have ever really identified bass fishing beyond what BASS has told us bass fishing is. And I think Monster Bass is completely opposite of like being at ICAST and showcasing and doing these things where you have a community of individuals coming together and you get feedback on baits and all these things. That's not how the industry, like they're trying to keep secret and they don't want to show anybody what they're working on. And you have a complete different look, an outlook on business. So I think it's kind of fun at the beginning of an ICAST show to really question ourselves. Like, what is bass fishing? What is the golden rule? Like, is it to have fun? Is it to be nice? Is it pack your trash? Like, I don't know. I haven't really identified that for myself, but ICAST, long story short, I won't be there. I'd love to be there. And, you know, like I've teased last time we were chatting last week, it's like, maybe we do an an ICAST Monster Bass Grande Bass booth next year or something.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
kind of a
we
fun
will
meet
have a
and greet.
Grande Bass booth there this year.
Yeah.
And Raphie will be there. Matt Brown will be there. Cupcake Coley. I wonder if I never asked her if that. I mean, I'm guessing that she picked the handle name, so she must like the name. But never really thought to ask her if she preferred that I call her by her real name or by her handle. I just kind of refer to everyone by their handle usually.
No,
So.
that's what I see their
Yeah.
names all the time. I'm on Instagram. I'm like, hey, that's their name. So it's kind of
Right.
funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. So you're taking a plane and you're going across. That's some of the greatest memories I had with my own kids. Is like taking 18 kids to the top of Half Dome,
Sure.
taking kids out on a. We actually rented a houseboat in Shasta Lake, and I got them all to swim a full iron distance swim. So they swam like 2.4 miles over the course of a week. The final day, they all swam over 2 miles, which is cool. We're catching fish and all that. So I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thing where you're giving up your time to do that in service and like probably making memories those kids will never forget. That'll be like
for sure.
This anchor point. So I mean, ICAST not being there, you going and doing what you're doing with the kids, like that's pretty noble. That's cool.
Yeah, I love it. Looking for Lilac Cow said, I think the golden rule of bass fishing is that anyone can bass fish.
You're
not wrong.
You're not wrong. No, that's the whole thing is my journey of sports and like wanting big, huge waves and knowing my wife hates big waves and going snowboarding and wanting certain characteristics in the mountain to be a specific way or riding a motorcycle faster than maybe my kids would want. Bass fishing, you can bass fish right next to anyone. So I think that's one of my biggest draws is we can all fish. Doesn't matter. Skill level doesn't matter a bit.
Yeah. I'd like to give a shout out to Bethany Rudd, who has just entered the chat. So welcome, Bethany. And all of you in the chat are lucky to have her. And we just want to say thank you for being here. Today we're talking about ICAST baits, and we're grateful that you guys are taking time out of your day, or if you're just tuning in on the rewind when you do tune in, whether you get this on Spotify or Amazon, thanks for subscribing. It means a lot. But yeah, today we're talking about ICAST and the new baits that are coming out. Now, I know a lot of you have seen the article that Bassmaster put out. Some of you have, some of you haven't. But I find it to be interesting because just as ICAST has changed over the years, right? Like, I remember my first ICAST, and it felt very special. It felt like exclusive. It felt like, ooh, well, only a select group of people can be here. You can only have, you got to be a writer. You got to be in the industry. You got to be this. You got to be that. And now, for me, this is just my opinion, you hit the nail on the head, right? ICAST is now turned into, like, the world's biggest cocktail party that everybody's allowed to go to. Like, you don't really have to be in the industry. Yeah. You could have a YouTube channel with one subscriber and you've put out one video and you're there. They're letting in everyone. Why? Because then they get to tout record crowds. Then they get to charge more money. Then they get to say that the industry is doing great and all these other things. And at the end of the day, we're just there to see the new stuff just like everyone else. And I think that's why you're seeing more and more people, more and more brands debut new products at the Classic instead of ICAST, because they're debuting it at an event that they can sell stuff at, and it's earlier in the year so that they can get it out sooner and into the hands of retailers for orders for the next year, as opposed to missing an entire season, right? Because the retail buying season is done in many cases is done for 2025 before the Classic. A lot of the big decisions are already made. So, or done just after the Classic, but they're all done by ICAST. So if you debut a product at ICAST and I've made all my buying decisions and I've had all my line reviews, I missed out again. And so it causes this rift between, there's not that symbiotic dance between retail and brands. And so I think that's why you see a lot of it come out. I don't know what you think about that, but that's what
I'll tell you. I went to the Hook booth last year and they had this shirt because I like Western shirts with the snaps, and they had a brand new Western fishing shirt by Hook. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want 5 of those. I want literally, if people see me, they see me in that shirt, and I don't care if it's the same shirt.
Mm.
When can I get it? And the guy's like, 9 months. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Mm-hmm.
You're selling this for next year's future season. Like, you're talking and understanding that, of course, we're offshoring our stuff. We're having it made in factories overseas. We're putting it on vessels and barges, goes to this distribution hub. So you're talking, which a lot of people don't understand. They're talking about selling things at ICAST for almost a season and a half later.
Yeah.
So when I go there and I saw something I wanted, and they're like, we won't even have this in our hands for 9 months. Then you got to wait for a distributor to pick it up. And then to get it from a retailer, you're probably talking a year and a half. And I was like, I don't even know if I'll be alive that far in the future. So let alone wait for a fishing shirt that I wanted. So I'm with you. I think it's cool to have some unified thing that draws the fishing community together to celebrate fishing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know the business side of, what does it cost to be there? The travel, the trade show booth setup, the function, when now everybody's so versed at selling direct to consumer. And that's so much fun to get consumer feedback. I think it's funny that you've always been direct to consumer, and consumer feedback has been so important that these bigger brands are like, wait a minute, is getting a line item in a big box store more important, or is selling it to people and shaking their hand at ICAST and looking them right in the eye and saying, hey, I hope you catch a fish. Let me know how this bait does. There's nothing better than when I sell something to someone, whether it be socks or those events that I was just doing. That's exactly what the event life's about.
Yeah.
We're getting people out off the couch to go and run their first 5K. They've never ran before. I tell people all the time, I don't care about the person that runs a 5-minute mile. This is old news for them. It's kind of like the same thing. It's not like I'm going to say it, but like a professional bass fisherman, great, go catch fish however you want. But to get somebody for the first time to catch a fish and help them through that process and then be there for the enjoyment, that gets me super excited. So being at the Classic, being at a booth where you can sell somebody something, especially a discount bulk.
Yeah.
I think that's a better business model. So I don't know if ICAST, if it switches and how it works. The olden days, I think you used to have to go there because you would write down your order. Like you have to sit behind a booth and like, okay, you want 5 of these, 6 of these, 7 of these. Like, there weren't automated order systems and inventory. And Joe Schmo's Crab Shack bait and tackle sold 22 of this color. It automatically places an order and it's drop shipped. Mm-hmm. That didn't exist when ICAST started.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, listen, since we're talking about some ICAST baits, what I thought we could do is let's put them up on the screen, because we talked about how the show has evolved over the years. Why don't we talk about how the baits have evolved over the years? Because, I'll never forget when, I saw this guy comment on YouTube and he's like, oh, that's just some cheap China knockoff. And I thought to myself, well, I won't tell you what I thought, but you can imagine I was like, you're like so naive, because the reality is the moment someone created a popper, every popper that came after that was a knockoff. The moment that someone created a fishing rod, every rod that came after that was a knockoff. Somebody had to create the original, and everything after that is the knockoff. And we could have a whole show about that. But my point is that, like, we're going to look at a bunch of products, and I'm not knocking any brands or anything like that. But I want to highlight some of these baits, and then I want to let's talk about them, because they're new, and I don't know what everyone's thoughts are, but I'd love to go through them. I'd love to get your thoughts on them, because ICAST is meant to be the showcase of innovation, to where our industry shows up to highlight what's new, what's game-changing, and what you need to go run out and spend your hard-earned money on in order to catch fish, because there's new stuff, and what's in your tackle box is no longer good anymore. So you got to buy some new stuff. So this first product, I'd love to know your opinion, is the all-terrain finesse football jig. And unlike its predecessor, this one's built upon a unique, sticky, sharp barbarian bend hook that is the right balance of finesse and power.
So I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing already because it's like it's almost like they're like typing into Chat GP or whatever. They're like, okay, describe a jig for us.
Yeah.
And then what are the buzzwords? I have some people in real estate where they're like, if you look at the website posts of most real estate people, they have the same buzzwords because they're all using AI to write their things about their homes.
Yeah.
What's a barbaric bend for one? Because I can't see the hook in the picture.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like where if that's the hook, I can almost see it in there, but that's not a lot of gap opening between the hook and that eyelet that's on the top.
Yeah.
How's that eye going to drag? You got that knurled head of what a lot of my jigs look like after I've casted them against rocks and docks for years. And so the first thing I thought of is man, if I'm fishing where there's pond scum and schmuck, that's just going to pull that right off the rocks and it's going to stick on my jig. And that's going to lift up a little bit of yuck with my jig every time I move it. And most animals that are bouncing on the bottom, whether it be a crawdad or something, are not lifting up the schmuck with them. Yeah. And I'm always picking off my jig and I want my jig to be clean. If I'm fishing though, that in clear water and it's a rocky bottom, that might drag a little bit extra sediment and kick it up by having that little roughed edge. So for me in my dirty water, I'm like, I don't know if I really want that. Yeah. But again, you gotta do something to the mouse trap to make it look exciting. And that's kind of what you got. No, I'd love to know like the idea that's a lot more tooling or mold work on there. I don't know if that's lead or tungsten.
It's lead.
You know, those are okay. So a lead head poured with this fancy, you said what, barbaric bend?
Yeah, it's got a barbaric bend that stirs up bottom sediment and transmits sound from rock.
There you go. See, it's stirring up, but the lead is not transmitting sound. So I love these things of like, you got lead that's like the most
dense.
It muffles the sound. Yeah. And so it's going to dense and it's soft. And so that lead is going to have a little bit less sound transmission than if it was tungsten. Totally. So, it's like, it's cool. It's marketing. It's something new. Again, if you get that bait and you're excited and you go and fish and you catch your PB, you're like, I am never using a jig that doesn't have a knurled head on it. I'm going to go file all my jig heads and make them look like that. Yeah. But I mean, it's something different. Yeah. I mean, like whatever. Yeah. I like looking for lunkers, said the new.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What do you say? No, what do you say?
No, he said golden rule. Got to keep that funk off your bait. So when I see that was the first thing when I saw it, because I opened up the email looking at the ICAST list and I saw that and I was like, that could be cool, like in rivers and places where there's really clean bottom lakes. But that to me looks like it might catch a little bit of debris. Yeah.
So everyone sitting there in the chat, give me your vote. Would you? I can't say that word. That's a family-friendly show. Use it or lose it. Which one? Are we going to use it or lose it?
Yeah, I think, these are good things. Is stirring up good? There's a lot of questions going on. So if I throw a bait out into the water and a fish is kind of seeing it, it's going to, like, again, these are the trailers in the fall and the fish sees this thing come down and it lands. Yeah. That's great. Also, when you're moving a bait, whether you're popping it or jigging it or you're dragging it slow, that's mimicking something as a predator, a bass looking to go and gather, like something catches its attention. So if you're stirring up stuff in the water, that extra little crunchiness on the nose might be a good thing. I've never thought that I've never fished a bait and thought I need to stir up more sediment. I've just never had that as the thing that I thought would catch more fish, but hey, use a heavier weight. Oftentimes I'm like, maybe I wanted this to fall a little bit slower and I want a lighter bait, but maybe I'm doing it wrong. So that's the beauty of this.
I'm bored with this bait. I think the only one that
there's a lot of loses it. I don't think the chat just
right. No. Moving on to everyone at home. You're smart. Lose it. All right. Next up, let's go. Okay. I got the next product up for bid on The Price is Right. It is Fix. Is it pulling off my screen? I got my screen out. Maybe it's not. All right, hold on, folks.
Can you go to the other tab?
This one?
Yeah, as we're talking, I mean, the beauty of that bait is like if it's a small jig, it's a finesse jig, I'd still throw it. I promise you, this is the cool part is I promise you I could catch a fish with that last jig. That is the irony of bass fishing. And like
Sure.
now this one I can't promise you I could catch a fish on,
Yeah.
but this will be a fun one because I've not
Yeah.
thrown this. I've not talked to anyone that's ever caught a fish on this, but man, when this came into the world, and this again, if this is an ICAST exclusive release, it's weird because I feel like I've known about this bait for like 8 months.
Yeah.
But go ahead and
Yeah.
go ahead and introduce it. So what do we got?
So this is the jerk. I'm sorry, the credge.
The credge.
And
the
this
credge.
revolutionary hard bait was designed. Here, let me just get this on the screen so I can make it a little smaller so it fits on the screen and I can read it to you guys. So this revolutionary hard bait was designed to mimic the natural upward fleeing reaction of a bait fish from predatory strikes. Contrary to conventional methods of fishing a jerkbait, the upturned bill, that's jerk spilled backwards, allows it to work its way upward in the water column, only to fall backwards towards fish chasing the bait. Designed for forward-facing sonar, it allows the angler to see how the fish reacts and adjusts the retrieve and presentation accordingly. I want to be the first to go on record saying this bait will never be in our box because it's ridiculous.
Wow. All right.
It's ridiculous. Listen, if we rewrote this and said and talked about the jerkbait and the downward turn of the bill, it would allow us to see the natural movement downward of the bait. Like,
so I'm with you, Rick. Like, I don't know if you could go down and you could ask a bluegill, what do you do when a bass is chasing you? I see them all the time laterally swimming away. I watch them. They don't naturally always go to the surface. They don't naturally always go down. I think that's one of those things of the one thing I question is I know this is a forward facing sonar push. Yeah. Is they're pretending you can jerk a bait forward, and when you pause and you're watching it pass your fish on the screen, that it can slowly fall backwards.
Sure.
I understand the hydrodynamics of a bait. I understand a sinking jerk bait. When I get the forward momentum of a jerk bait, it's got that front bill, it's pointed down, that's kind of pulled it down, it's darted off the side. I would love to know what makes that bait go backwards. I think the idea is as it's falling, that bill is up, and the height. I still think that bait is going to be jerked up, and then it's going to fall forward. I just don't have it in me to believe that moves backwards.
Here's where I will give some props. Yeah. This is probably one of, and I haven't looked through them all. This is probably one of 3 baits where they literally tried to do something different and introduce something to the market that was like, it's something new. Now, whether or not it's going to catch more fish than a traditional jerkbait, I don't know. But at least they tried, because I know that, like, I looked at a bunch of baits and I'm like, oh, this is a game-changing worm. Like, I can tell just by looking at it. It's freaking, instead of
it's the banjo minnow. No,
right. It's mighty.
No, somebody call, like, tell me, does this thing go backwards? Does it have like a propeller in it that's drawing it backwards? Because when I'm pulling a jerk bait, and this is the funny part, is if I want it to be shallow, they make shallow diving jerk baits. If I want it to suspend, there's certain weights. If you want it to sink, Kevin Van Dam was he wouldn't really even talk about it. He just drill holes in the side of his jerk baits and let them fill with water. It'll sink great. Trying to get down to deep fish. I don't think the bill upside down makes it go backwards. And that's when you name something jerk backwards, call it the credge, because it's going to go backwards. There's a big movement right now. It's funny because the bubbly soda that you're drinking, my son was reading me all about the lawsuits the different soda, the poppy soda, because it doesn't have enough probiotics because it just has some apple cider vinegar in it. You're claiming a bait moves backwards. If it doesn't, I'm pretty sure you're opening yourself to lawsuits of like this. Does it go backwards? I just really am so curious. The bait tank doesn't lie. So if somebody
No.
has
I
this thing,
saw the video. So because of where like the line ties right at the top of the bill, right? So you're pulling it all the way down, and then just because the shape, it will go backwards. Like I've seen it.
So it actually, so it swims
does.
forward on your jerks, and it does dive back.
It does.
Interesting. All right. Yeah. No. And if that gets bit, again, these are these things as like an evading bait fish. I think that's not what we're worried about. We're worried about keeping a bait longer on your screen for a person that enjoys forward facing sonar and can see the fish longer interact with your bait and feel like you're about to catch it.
All right,
maybe that's the excitement.
Let's do this. Brendan is offered to call in and explain the bait and how it works. So Brendan, why don't you call in? We'll take your call. Everybody else before Brendan, is it pass or trash? Or pass or trash? Loser, love it. What did I say? I gotta go. Lose it. I don't remember. No one said the other side. Lose it or love it. I don't care. Let's get Brendan on the phone and let's have him explain how this works. And then we're gonna go to a couple more baits, and then I'm gonna show you one that's some real ingenuity and product development. It's very exciting.
No, I love it. So the last comment says backwards fishing. What a time to be alive. Yeah. Like I love it because the reality is like, oh, I need another chance. I would actually rather pass the fish and then do another pass with another twitch. But to think that a bait, you can pull it away, and then that fish that evaded the bass is now swimming back to the bass can be like, what are you kidding me? Like, what is that thing? So I think it's a great idea. Sonar. We need some backward facing sonar. Yeah. I don't know if here's the beauty. If this thing is now catching fish by all my friends and they're crushing it, I am the first person to jump on that bandwagon. I am not prideful at all. If somebody else is catching fish on something, I'll try anything.
Oh my God. Jeremy Hickman loves it. Oh, yeah. I think he's doing that just to get an elevated heart rate out of me.
He's backwards. He's again,
see, Mr.
no
Gambit
forward facing sonar.
Jerk bait coming or going? Yeah, he's not wrong. All right. If Brendan's not coming, we can always come back to it, but I'm moving on. I'm moving on. Okay. Oh, here it is, folks. This is a big one. It froze. Okay. Let me stop sharing, screen share. There it is, share. Here it is, folks. This is the game changer. This is the Booyah Flashpoint Jerkbait. It's a slender minnow jerkbait with raised body sections that impart a quick darting action. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there.
Do they? Does a raised body part make it?
Don't all jerkbaits impart a quick darting action of a?
That's why I tease. Like, I think the jerk, when you jerk a bait or you rip the bait, I call them jerk baits. Some people are like, it's a rip bait. If you jerk it or rip it, twitch it. That's the quick darting action. The fact that the reaction to where it moves from side to side, that is in part the width of the bill, the hydrodynamics. That's kind of a rounded scoop bill on the front. Yeah. So the quick darting action is due to the angler's retrieve speed on the jerk. The raised body sections, at first, it kind of looks like a topwater bait. It's kind of something cool. I don't mind the look of it. I think in marketing, you're like, here's my mousetrap. Kind of looks like a jerk bait, kind of has some raised body. You got to say something about it. I mean, the poor companies, like everybody's got to try to differentiate something different.
Well, they did, and here's what it is.
Yeah, keep going. Tell me more. I'm excited.
What appears to be a piece of lead on the head, and what that does is it provides a subtle baitfish flash, like a beacon on forward-facing sonar screens.
Oh, so lead is a good I don't know if it's not the word transmit. Somebody help me out with the cool word, but a reflection of sonar.
Yeah.
I don't think lead is what sonar bounces off of better than
Yeah.
something else. But no, this
Yeah.
is the pull part. This is the computer game we're getting into, because now people
Yeah.
like spray their baits with stuff. They dip them in certain polymers and different things to have
Yeah.
them show up better on the screen. Again, I'm not into that game as much as maybe I should be, but I don't know lead. I think there's some really cool jerk baits out there that you can actually change the weights.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing. Like, oh my gosh, I want a different jerk bait, but I want this to get down a little bit further. And you can actually mess with the bill. You can change the bills out to be
Sure.
longer, deeper diving. So those are some neat component pieces. But at the end of the day, like if you make something that can be changed, that's also a point where that can break and that can fail. And in the game of wanting to sell more baits, I'd be like, hey, just sell some deep divers, sell some shallow ones, sell whatever. So I don't know. I'd throw it. I'm a huge fan of jerk baits. I'd love to see how it acts, but
Yeah.
if
I mean,
all
right. So use it or lose it, folks. What are we going to do with this bait? Because I'm ready to move on to the next one. What do we got here? It's a Mylar strip. It doesn't look like a Mylar strip. All right. I don't see any votes. Then again, oh, there's a delay. Live chat. Oh, there we go. Lose it. New fishing.
done.
David Silver. Wait, from 90210? Is that David Silver? Champlin Cat. Use it. Meh. Matt Brown said, meh.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. Is like, man, I would that coming in a Monster Bass box, I would not be disappointed just because it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
a jerk bait.
disappointed.
These are these things of like, use it or lose it, whatever. You give me that jerk bait, I throw that thing a few times.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably catch a fish or two. That could be the color combo that the fish keyed into. That
Sure.
body shape could be like, oh my gosh, this thing is revolutionary. It drove the best bite of my life. That's the beauty of bass fishing. And the irony is like, you happen to be somewhere in the Delta where the tide was exactly at the right spot and the moon phase was exactly right. You didn't realize any of that. And you could have thrown a cat turd and caught a million fish.
Sure.
But you happen to throw that exact bait. And then all of a sudden you're like, this is the most amazing thing in the world, because there were so many other things aligned to be successful. So that is the beauty of fishing, is that bait could be amazing. Yeah. And I'm sure at some point in this magical world on some body of water, that bait would be better than everything else ever made. But to be there at that exact time, that's pretty tough to get all that to align.
All right. Well, moving on. Scott Vermonter already voted. He said lose it, so I'm gonna go with him, and we're gonna move on.
Well, wait. Would you? I just want to know, because this is fun. You're asking questions. Would you ever consider? Would you allow that to go in the Monster Bass box?
Sure.
Okay, good. Because we only got one so far. That you're never putting into Craig.
I would never put it
the Craig.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. This is the conundrum. If I put it in the box, everyone will applaud because I'm getting you this new revolutionary bait. And they would I'll be honest, if I put the Berkeley jerk in there versus the Booyah jerk, they would be much more happier with the Berkeley jerk versus this Booyah one. Even though, one is probably closer to a tried and true jerk bait and one is maybe a gimmick, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that is ironic, because somebody in the folklore of fishing made the other brand maybe a little cooler. Somehow they bought their way into this game of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, this is the game of marketing, and this is what we're all involved in. It's like, okay, maybe more tournaments have been won on Berkeley baits. Now they can kind of put a bait out there that fishes backwards, and we're all going to buy into it. I'll tell you what, if that bait becomes the most successful bait, you might have to eat your words, because everybody's just gonna be begging for backwards jerk bait.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, and then Berkeley will watch this and be like, nope, you can't have it. You said you'd never put it in the box.
No, all they're like, eat your words. Here, they're 25 cents. Yeah, they're gonna give them to you.
Up next is the Booyah Flat. Oh. Up next is look at these two. Look at these two. From Daiwa.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen a million of these.
No, and that's a great jerkbait. I'm loving it already. Yeah. Give it to me. I'll catch a lot of fish with that thing.
All right. So this one here is the 2-inch sinking Japanese-inspired Dr. Minnow. Pair of number 12 treble hooks, 4 patterns.
I have to make a confession. When I see those, this is a confession, Father. I come to you. I need to confess. I just think of trout fishermen when I see a hinged bait. Because of growing up as a fly fisherman and fishing in boats and trolling, all I think of when I see that bait with the hinge in the middle, that is a jointed crankbait, a jointed jerkbait. I don't even know what you officially call it. I think of trout. Now, here's my confession. I've seen so many good bass caught on those, and I own probably 20 of them. I never throw them. So somebody tell me why I'm not throwing them, because I just think of trout, and I catch a lot of bass on trout baits, and I know bass eat fish that look like that. Why do I not throw a jointed bait like that? I don't know why.
Because your line gets caught up in it. I don't know.
No, I throw swim baits that are like that, because a lot of, like, you think of like the swim baits now that have bills on the front, the crank downs, they look like that. They're just bigger. Why wouldn't I throw a small one? Like, it's so dumb. In the ocean, you throw those all day long. That when you go out and you're going to catch a redfish, you're going to catch a snook or something. That's an amazing, I just think saltwater or trout. And I don't know what my hang up is. Yeah. It's just me. It's funny.
Yeah. I mean, look, if I put either one of these in the box, or I mean, if I put this jointed one in the box, I mean, truth be told, even though I said I'd never put the credge in the box, like, the truth be told is that is one of the beautiful things about the box, right? Because if you're paying for something and you get something like that, it's designed to take you out of your comfort zone. So, I mean, you'd be a fool not to actually try it and at least give it a couple tosses and see, like, if you're going to have success or not. But that's just me.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, all the fish in my lake really like baits that swim backwards.
Yeah,
I've been screwing up. These fish, They need food brought right to their face. So that is the irony. Yeah. It's funny because a person in the chat, they're like, yeah, I don't do well with jointed baits. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm fishing them grumpy. I'm a big believer in that, though, for sure. Where if you're throwing something thinking you're not going to catch fish, you're going to not catch fish. Every once in a while, you might get lucky, but when you're fishing with positive mental attitude, you're keyed into the strikes, you're ready to react to the bite, so much different. And I fish a jointed bait like that, maybe pouty pants. So that's why I go to this one right here. Who's making this? I want to hear about this jerk bait.
Oh, this is from Daiwa, another one. And you know what? I want to comment on something. You know, for all the people that like to talk trash about monster bass baits, I'd like to make it a point to just, as we go through this, I'd like everyone to take notice at how many people are putting BKK hooks on their baits. And I'd like to point out that I did that 5 years ago. And so for all the haters that think it's just like cheap Chinese knockoffs, if you only knew. I did all this research and I talked to so many people. And what they told me was, back in the day, BKK hooks around the world are loved, and they gave me the whole story as to why they're better, what they do, and how they don't outsource anything. They do it all in their own factories. And I just love how all these brands are now using BKK. So anyway, this next bait is also from Daiwa, and it is a 3-inch suspending jerk bait with number 10 BKK hooks. And
so did they said inches? They actually measured it in inches.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Because
that's interesting for a jerk bait.
Jerk bait
the
coming
name of
from
the jerk
Daiwa.
bait, right? But then yet the name of the jerk bait is a 75.
So they're what it is they're like, hey, by the way, 75, it's 3 inches. So that's for all of us that don't understand what 75 is. So if you have 75 millimeters, you're like, what is this? A 110, Vision 110. I don't even know what that means. You got a 3-inch jerk bait. So I appreciate them dumbing it down so I know how long that is. So my new hat, my favorite new hat. No, let's just move on. My favorite new hat, I'm going to announce all my running races. It says, what the hell's a kilometer? Just because we all do these 5K races and everybody's like, what is that? How far is that? That's not in my speedometer. It's in miles. So Well, I'm glad they write that so the average person can make sense.
Sure.
Good for them. Nice jerk bait.
Okay. Here it is, folks. This is the game changer that's gonna make this is the must-have for the holiday season. You want to make sure that if you've got another $5.99 lying around, that you pick up this grass wizard. This is a uniquely shaped.
I'm sitting back here like when you're deciding what you're bringing to the World's Fair. You're like, I'm going to showcase what's never been seen. And my name's Walt Disney, and I'm bringing a ride that people float in a boat for the first time ever to the World's Fair of Bass Fishing. Now we're going ICAST. I'm going to bring a jig that looks like but tell me, what is, you just said it's revolutionary.
Yeah, it's revolutionary, Chris. So here's what this jig does. It slides in and out of cover with ease. And it's revamped with premium dual tone paint schemes and high definition skirts. So what they're saying is that their paint schemes used to suck, and now they've got high definition skirts for added realism and strike appeal. It's got strike appeal.
That's like sex appeal, but for a fish.
All of your jigs at home, everyone. Your jigs are no good because they do not have strike appeal. It's kind of like
I like that.
realtors. You need curb appeal for your home. So
I know that's like
some money.
I got to work on my strike appeal. Well, I learned. Hey, if I learned nothing, I learned. Dude, you're not catching fish today. You got no strike appeal.
Yeah.
Is that? It looks like a casting. Swim-ish jig.
They're
calling it a flipping jig. I wonder what they're even calling it, because this is the fun part.
I learned a new one. Whether it's a swim or whether unique. It just says unique arrow-shaped belly heavy head design.
I grabbed my jig box of like the thousands of jigs, and I'm pretty sure I have a fair. The new one, the football that's flat on each end. The keg weight. Have you seen the keg weights?
No.
The keg jig. I didn't know it's called a keg. I was like, look at that. No. It's kind of footballish, but it's flat on each end. I don't know what that does, but it's awesome. So anyway, keep going, because this one.
Yeah, somebody asked if it was hand tied or not. I'm gonna go with it. It's not, because if it was, they would have called it out. It's funny because nobody calls out whether it's hand tied or not unless it is hand tied. No one says, well, we use a rubber band.
Yeah, my buddy John, does the Donkey Slayer jigs, the bladed jigs. He's all about silicone and then mixing in living rubber. And that's this whole thing, is like having the different color combinations, having different rubber diameter in the skirt that actually is lively. Some can flow. A lot of hair. There's some hair jigs that are out there that people are now mixing in a little marabou with the living rubber. And it's just like, oh my gosh. But hey, good for them for bringing a brand new jig to market. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and for everyone at home, I want to let you know that I've been working hard. And I'm not I might bring a new jig to the box, but I just did a deal with Spro to bring some of their marabou jigs to the box in October or November. But it's not going to show up here on this list of new products. But before we go to the next product, I do want to bring you something. And I want to see if we might need Fix's help with this one.
Okay.
I don't know if you can do it. All right, so this is the front view. I want to know. It's like part buzz bait, part top water. So my question to the chat is, has anyone ever seen a bait like this? And what are your thoughts about it? It didn't make the ICAST. New product list, but it darn well should have, because it looks a lot different than all these others. So, my question to you in the chat is: has anyone ever seen this? And I do want to tell you, this is an old version. This is an old version that Ricky over here is acquiring, and and going to bring to life. Just can't. Looks dope. Use it or lose it. Not for my fisheries. Looking to see if anyone else has commented on it. All right, Russell Kunkel. This is
Russell Kunkel nailed it.
Yeah, this is the original grass burner from Evolution Baits. No longer around, and this is their original one. And I am going to bring this back to life, a new and improved version, because I couldn't just bring back the same thing. But I started working on this about I don't know, a month and a half ago, and we made some significant progress because, I have to have the trademark. I got to be able to bring this to market. And the goal will be to bring this prototype to life, send out 10,000 of them, get feedback from you guys. And, hopefully we bring it to ICAST next year, and it's, wins best new bait, because it is innovative, right? At least it looks, it's got a better name.
Yeah, Rick,
sure.
I'm just going to share mine because Rick asked me before the show. I was selling socks to a buddy. I know my screen looks a little bit pixelated, I think, today.
Yeah.
It's 10,000 degrees. It's so hot, but I sold some socks to a buddy, friends from high school. He's like, you got to use this bait. I've been killing it on the Delta. And I think this was born in the Delta. He went back home and brought me one. I have not thrown it yet. And I think that bait has an opportunity. You're talking buzz bait, topwater, whopper plopper. They all got together, had some babies, and that thing is just spitting and spinning and sliding across the top of the water. The fish look up. You got two big trebles, one in the trailer back end, one in the face. So it's like, why not throw that thing, see what happens? So I'm excited.
Yeah, to answer a couple of questions in the chat. So this bait, these guys used to be there. They were a big brand up on the Delta. Yes, there's a treble in the back. Why are they not around? Well, when you get four partners together and you start to fight with one another, and one controls the money and one controls the bait, and you decide that it's, to start out pointing fingers, well, then the company goes downhill. And truth be told, they just fell apart. And so I'm, I don't want to say I'm grateful. I'd like to say that I'm opportunistic, and I'm really grateful that I reached out to those guys, because it's been gone for a few years. But every person you talk to about it says that this thing just crushes it. They were retailing these things for like $24. Now you find them online for like $60, $70. And I'm like, we're going to make them and make them affordable. So
just do me a favor. My buddy Mick is in the chat. He said he wants them for striper on the Delta. Can you make that in bone? So the black one you have bone, and then this bass one, I think we're all set. So yeah, those baits actually could be great for a lot of different fish.
Yeah.
And pike and different fish that'll want to destroy them. But bass, those things are definitely going to get eaten. So I'm excited to see those come out.
Yeah, Tackle Warehouse had a case of them, and that they had just sitting there once they pulled the plug, and I was like, I'll take them all. So,
yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
But
that's fine.
All right. Moving on. So all right, before I just want to do a gut check with everyone in the chat. How are we doing today? Is everyone playing nice with Bethany, or are we still having our July 4th hangover?
I think so far everyone's been nice.
I would love that. Bass Fishing 2.0.
I haven't seen any.
He'd use it. So if he says so, it's got to be good.
Done.
All right. Okay. I'm hopeful that we're only going to make it through about 10, 12 baits, but I'm really hopeful that this next one is very innovative, because
we need some wait, I've never seen anything like that. Wait, is that like a ball of lead connected to a hook?
No, Chris. Hold on.
What is it? What do we got? Is it tungsten?
This is designed for forward-facing sonar. This jig is made with tungsten resin, and
Whoa. Yeah. What's tungsten resin? So, it's resin. It's resin plastic with tungsten powder. Because I know tungsten's like
they melt
a trillion degrees.
Melt tungsten, yeah. But the resin's cheaper, and and it allows you to mix in other components and still call it tungsten if it's got X percentage of whatever, but it's much lower than 97%.
So I just learned that last night.
Yeah.
Kobe beef in California, or
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
it's even United States, but it's only has to be like 46%. It's
Right.
like I'm eating Kobe beef, probably. That's kind of like I'm using a tungsten head, probably, is what we got right here.
Did you know that grass finished beef? So a cow can actually eat corn its entire life, and as long as it eats grass the last whatever number of days, they can then turn around and sell it as grass finished beef. And
so you need grass fed, grass finished. That's a whole other, but right now we're going probably tungsten, and this would be cool. Like if this shows up better on forward facing sonar, I'm all about that, because if people are using that tool to identify their bait, they're not great at tuning in their view and all these little settings. Am I looking at, like, if this helps people see their bait in connection to fish, awesome.
Yeah.
I hope it does. I think everyone has been okay with understanding the plastic, the bigger body on the, like the fluke body, or the, whatever you're going to use, a swimmer body on that, has a lot to do with how it resonates the sound back. And that picks up on the sonar, because they're sending sound waves out at different speed, and it has to bounce back. So hopefully that resin does something neat and you can see it better. Maybe it does. I want to go back to, I just had an idea. Can we partner here right online? Yeah. I want, Axe cologne became a thing, and then everybody put too much Axe on. Can we get Chris's Strike Appeal spray for baits?
Strike Appeal.
I feel like you just spray it, because everyone's talking about the Strike Appeal. I'm going to tell everybody, it shows up like lightning on your forward facing sonar. A fish can't, and then we can make all these fun commercials where all the fish are chasing this thing for the Strike Appeal. You and we're going to come out ICAST Chris's Strike Appeal.
Just sitting there back in the chair with a bunch of fish on each arm, like
just
girl fish.
Spraying it, just spraying it. My Strike Appeal. So anyway, keep going.
Yeah. All right. Done. This one, we can keep moving. I mean, I think we all agree that, like, listen, if it's going to help us, we'd probably use it, but I don't know. $8?
$8 for one? Whoa.
Doesn't say. I'm going to go with 3.
Okay. Pack of 2 or 3, maybe, but yeah.
I don't want to even talk about that one. I don't really care. I mean, look, this is just another crankbait, except for it's,
well, I'll tell you that, but the bill kind of comes off at an up angle, then drops down. That's going to be a little unique. Yeah, that one. See how the bill?
Yeah, but there's a million baits that are like that.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's like that. That's been done. I don't know why that's new and unique. Yeah. So these are these fun things. I think the rat that you passed this is what I was talking about. ICAST reconnecting to kind of like this whole thug, cool swim bait culture that's out there that I'm actually a part of, and I'm totally a fan of.
Sure.
Toxic Days at the Delta. They have the camping event that's on the East Coast. You have all these baits, these manufacturers, and now some of them are bringing them to market mass, like you were talking about. Like, you don't have to hand make every one of them. You find something that works, you reverse engineer it, and now tell us about this thing.
Oh, I will. This is the Evergreen Combat Rat. It measures 5.8 inches, 10.75 inches in total with a tail. Now, here's where it gets crazy. It features a premium, because why would you ever put anything but a premium number 1 treble hook in the front, and a 1/0 in the treble hook in the front, and a number 1 in the rear, and it only retails for $54.99.
Well, I hate to tell you, I know that thing's going to catch fish. If it swims well, it clacks good. Yeah, it's going to get the job. It's going to get the job done. So would a $19 rat. Evergreen is known for making some high-end things, but if you're going to go and buy a rat from and this is the hard part, if you're buying it from somebody that pours resin on a lower scale in their garage, they're going to charge you $150 or more. Yeah. And because it's being poured by people in a factory, maybe to even tighter specifications and clearance, it may be made with tighter tolerances, but on scale that thing should be $25, $26, $29 maybe, but they're going, nice high end. So sure. I don't know. I think that's a chance. It's a chance for people to break away, or maybe the gateway drug into buying handmade baits. Brown Bait Company could maybe give us some insight. Maybe he's seen that,
Maybe.
because that's kind of like his avenue of playing in that game. I have PB rats. I have rats that are $150-200, and I use them and love them, and they catch fish. But what do you got?
I'm just reading the chat. I think it's time for me to move on.
No, you need to move. I saw that.
This is a 6-inch. I'm not interested in a 6-inch crankbait. I'm not interested in this. Well, hold on. Yeah, I'm not looking at that one. God, this one's so good. Look at that.
Isn't that Mike Iaconelli? Isn't that?
Nope.
I think we got.
No, you throw JDM on this thing and you can jack your jig up to 750.
No, who is making that?
Gamakatsu.
Is that actually? It's a Gamakatsu jig.
Yeah. Now,
wow.
Okay, just so everyone knows, they have multiple factories. They have one in Japan that was the original. Then they opened up a really big one in China. And I want you to all know that they can do all the work in China, ship it over to Japan and package it, and tell you that it's from Japan. And if it's going to save them 30, 40%, don't think for a second they're not doing it. I don't care what anyone else on the planet says, because at the end of the day, they're not a not-for-profit. They're not.
They're not a not-for-profit.
And this has got a rubber band. It's not even hand tied. This skirt is $7.50.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite marketing pieces, I don't know what bait it was, but it was in the box and it said handcrafted by the PRC. And I was like, handcrafted in the PRC, the People's Republic of China, just owning it, but churching it up a bit and making it sound a little chic. Yeah, so it's just like, this is kind of fun.
I did do that.
Was that you? Okay,
I
was like, this is cool. So to have that head nod of like, this is awesome. So it's funny. These are these things of like, people are like, oh my gosh, it's made in China. What am I we're talking on microphones that are probably made in China, our cell phones, everything else, like this, the reality, all these baits that you've shown.
Yeah.
But like you said, they could say it's made somewhere else. So,
just going back to the PRC thing, I did that as a joke. And I was like, I wonder if anyone's going to ever ask me what the PRC is. And no one ever said a word until now. And now I'm like, okay, at least somebody saw it.
Yeah. No, it's like my socks. If they're woven in the PRC, hand woven.
Okay.
And I love it.
I'm not going to spend any time on this bait right here, because it looks to me like another minnow. Hold on.
But I'm gonna tell you, wait, because this bait, if it fishes, these are the things that I think that we're nervous of. This bait, I don't know what it does, but if this is a bait to be fished underwater, this is where we sometimes miss an opportunity, because that does not have a bill on it from what it looks like.
Yeah.
It looks like it's more top water. If that is slow sinking, but the face of that makes it go up. Guess what we just made? We made the credge without having a big bill in the front. That bait, if it's back weighted, could fall backwards. You could have a back sinking, forward facing sonar, amazing bait that is a jerk bait that doesn't have the blade on the front, that could revolutionize a bite, and we would all pass right by it. So I think those, what do they say that is?
This might win the award for adjectives. So, this is the greenfish tackle dot minnow. Now, the greenfish tackle dot minnow. How do you spell dot?
DOT. It's the Department of Transportation.
Yeah. So let me continue. DOD stands for dead on target. And the moniker is befitting of the new innovative product. Greenfish Tackle states the dot is a slow sinking style bait that is most effective on slow, steady retrieves, or when allowed to sink to a desired depth and twitched in the strike zone. The dot produces a perfect horizontal fall, making it ideal for selectively targeting fish on forward-facing sonar.
Say it's all about the strike appeal.
Strike appeal. This is a great. This is great.
It's they have a cool color. I mean, they're showing us their colors. I just give me the bone one. I want to try it. The bottom one,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd throw that right off the bat. Are the hooks? Am I seeing bad? Did they just do bad cropping?
It's just bad. It's just bad. Yeah.
Bad, bad cropping. All right. So no, hey, again, that could be a bait that might work. I don't know about the slow retrieve. Just slowly drawing something back that's not just kind of wobbles side to side, whatever. It's funny because, again, a bait that I'm not familiar with a lot of time is a spy bait. I don't use spy baits a lot, but a spy bait, that's a bait right there that could be a spy bait if you had the little blades. Now, how important are the blades versus they're kicking some noise and they're moving, but really if that's just slowly sinking and you're swimming this thing by a bass and they're hungry, again, on the right day, that could be the best bait you've ever thrown in your life. But hey, who knows?
Yeah. Speaking of spy baits, I just did a deal. Yeah. You guys are getting a spy bait in the November box.
Perfect time.
Brand new.
If you know about spy baits and the way they fall and the way they waddle down and super slow retrieve, they have some drawing power, great for cooler water.
And let's do great for forward-facing sonar.
I mean, if for sure they said it right there in the print.
They did. Okay, this next one, I know we're all waiting for the newest addition to the to the Whopper Plopper family. This is called, appropriately, the spitting image, because it's the spitting image of a Whopper Plopper.
It's not. That is the best.
I swear to God, ever. It says it right there on the side. Spitting image.
I wish they would just put on their spitting image of the Whopper Plopper. Would be just in parentheses.
Yeah. This rotating tail topwater lure with a finesse buzzing action was molded after the popular spitting image shad style body, complemented with a hard plastic rotating tail. The setup features a small hole for adding a finesse sound and a bubble trail as it tracks on the surface.
It's crazy. Well, hey, good thing they can bring that one out. I'm sure they'll win innovative new product, brand new.
This is Linda. The July boxes already started going out. Okay.
This is kind of like the stagnant. I'm like going back to the original question, talking about ICAST. If this is what innovation means, the sport, the direction, this is kind of rough for all of us. Of like, okay, what's important, what's good. I think going back to the Monster Bass community, I'd rather surround myself by a bunch of people that I like to fish with, to talk with, to chat with on a show like this, and fish some things that are tried and true. And I think sometimes we don't have to go purely on innovation. You know, that's kind of the reality where we're looking. But keep going and show me these groundbreaking jigs, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of jigs.
This one is groundbreaking, and it's only groundbreaking because I just secured these for an upcoming Monster Bass box. This is Missile Baits Ike's Monster Jig. Built on
this is what I was last asking about.
Built on a custom 10-aught VMC 60-degree heavy-duty jig hook with a super slick PTFE coating. It's all.
Can I just say
how applications?
Hell yes, bring it! Big old trailer, big fat bait. Try it. Put a big old flapping swim bait on that thing, the biggest craw you have. Throw it down there, scare the fish, and then maybe throw something that's smaller too. It's like, no, I love it. I think a big jig, we talk about all the time. Throw something really big, throw something small, keep the fish guessing. So why not?
Yeah. Here's two of them. This is the Nichols Lure Blade Runner. It's a spoon. You know, I think spoons get a bad rap, but guys that really fish throw spoons.
Oh, I'm a spoon guy. Like, spoons are awesome. Spoon-fed bass, they love it. You go to big reservoirs in Northern California, fish are down 50, 60 feet. You're bouncing that around. Smallmouth love them. So spoons, it's an art. Totally different. If you don't fish them, you got to move a lot more than what is required with most fishing. You're jigging, you're bouncing, you're moving. But hey, what about that? That's got to be some marabou or something on that guy.
It's a Minnesota mullet. Looks more like a fur coat for a small raccoon, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah, that, like, fly fishing days, I'll go out fishing with my buddies doing float and fly technique. That's just a fly fisherman's swim bait. I mean, literally, that's what guys are catching fish on. That's what fly tires tie to mimic modern
Mm-hmm.
day swim baits. And the action that fur delivers is like no other. It dances underwater. So hair jigs, that's just kind of a swim bait out of hair. I don't know what material that is, but
Chicken.
it looks like, yeah. So you got feathers. So this thing is like feathers versus fur. You got rabbit fur.
Yeah.
The next one looks like it's marabou. I was peeking at that next one. That's a
Marabou
marabou.
jig. Yeah.
So it's funny when that thing, what people don't realize unless you've seen them underwater, that's going to get saturated and then pin out. And that's going to look exactly like a Ned rig, the way that head is.
Mm-hmm.
But as it bounces and moves, that tail is just going to dance and just, I always tease. It's like calling the fish over, just saying, eat me. So that thing's got strike appeal tied right into it.
Yeah.
So
let's see what kind of game-changing words they used. They didn't.
Yeah, so I'll remind everybody that the guy that was designing the rods and talking, I forget his name,
Will Stewart.
the rod designer. So
Yep.
Will Stewart, he was saying that he could fish that pretty much behind anybody, and he's going to catch more fish all day long. And that's kind of the hair jig that he's talking about. And so they've just worked forever.
This
wait, this is brand new.
This is a surprise to me. I saw this, and before I even got to it, I was like, oh, it's Bagley. Remember, Bagley got bought by Northland Tackle. And this is the Northland Elite Pro Sunny B. The latest
Totally
entry
different.
into the Elite Pro crankbait lineup. Features all the beneficial characteristics of balsa while constructed with Northland's heat compression molding that adds consistency to the construction qualities of this bait.
So they're compressing balsa? I'm confused. Are they putting a shell? Are they putting a shell around it, or are they saying it's got the characteristics of balsa, but psych?
I don't think
not
it's
balsa?
I don't think it's balsa.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me. It's like almost Kobe beef, same thing.
Yeah.
It's like it might be tungsten. It's got the characteristic of balsa, but we don't even have to use balsa. That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's $12.99.
Good on them. All right, done.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh boy,
It's
Crawdad
the
already
crawfish.
folded up.
It's the crawfish from Rebel. I feel like I saw this back when I was a kid.
I think I actually have that for saltwater application that looks like a shrimp swimming away.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I actually have these I put these in the multi-species box. But mine isn't matte, so moving on. Here's a bait that looks a little interesting. This looks like the Mega Bass.
I'm a big fan. I know that Mad Dog or whatever. Yeah. So you're talking, but they added the little, it looks like they have little bills on each side of the face.
No, Mega Bass makes one with that too. The unique mouth design creates maximum surface disturbance.
Who's got what brand? What brand is that?
This is Rapala or Rapala, depending on where in the country you
are. So what do you call it?
Rapala.
Like if we're out talking, so you go Rapala.
Rapala.
Yeah. I grew up with Rapala, and now I've kind of made a change to Rapala because that's what more people had said is the accepted.
Oh, yeah, I don't really know. It's kind of like, I don't know.
Hey, you tell me what you want me to call you. I'll try my best. That's all I've always said to people because I have to say a lot of names at races, and I rename half the people with the wrong name. But if somebody comes up and they say, "Hey, I missed the Dog X," no, that's it. Like if I miss Diamante, I'm all about those. So those are great baits. They work well. Walking bait. I don't know. I think that having those extra little bills on it, I like the eyes, and that's kind of that giveaway is like reverse engineered. I like an angry eye, kind of like just a really mad fish for some reason. That calls to me, but
there's a deep
I feel like
go ahead.
Great. Yeah. It's funny because these are new products going in the new product showcase.
Yeah. And
I've seen a lot of these things. I'll tell you, Mollix. So the brand Mollix coming out, they have this Italian brand that I talk about. They had it's basically a lipless crankbait that was soft, and the whole bait is rubber, and it was kind of like a blade bait, kind of like a lipless, and it's fully rubber, and the thing bends in half. That came out last year at ICAST. Crazy bait that I don't know if those have been made somewhere else. It was super fun. I fished it, caught some fish with it. It was neat. I've not seen something that's different yet, other than a jerk bait made backwards that was released 8 months ago.
I mean,
Keep going.
this is just a straight king flat-sided. I mean, another
With
jig.
an old seeker
Z-Man
bait.
decided to make this the head with tungsten. Why do they make tungsten? Let's see. Designed to delve deeper into the water column, the latest iteration of the lineup features a low profile, high density, 96% tungsten. Now, that's really interesting.
Ooh,
It's really interesting because it's off by 1%. Everybody on the planet says 97%. Now, either that's a typo or I wonder why they're using, because Z-Man, those guys are smart. Wonder what 96% does. The direct head blade connection allows trademark hex-shaped chatterbait to start thumping upon entering the water. Blah, 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 blah. No. Yeah.
No, and I'm a fan of tungsten. I think tungsten on a bladed jig, that's one of the benefits that my buddy John's bait has over a lot of the lead heads. It is that different profile. You have the heavier, he's making 3/4 ounce and they're dropping deep. So to have that bait in tungsten, I'm a huge fan of tungsten. Lead's disgusting. We hate lead, right? In fishing, we're around water. We all need to learn to hate lead. But the reality is having a bait that's a bladed jig that is out of tungsten. I think that's kind of cool. So I'll give that a thumbs up.
Yeah. Yeah, lead sucks. All right, moving on. All right, we've already seen these Crush Cities. They're interesting, different shape. So kudos to them for putting a little paddle tail on the back. And
yeah, top and bottom and said side side. Good for them. I like it.
This is the janitor. I like how all their stuff is. Didn't they have like the? I thought they had some different names. The Crush City janitor.
What's the sweeper bait? Oh, the janitor.
Yeah.
Drink. I'll tell you what's kind of cool though. Is scroll back up a tiny bit because is that Christine Fisher right there fishing?
Yes.
I think that's kind of cool. Like in between all of the messaging is an ad for Bassmast Her. I think that's just recognize. No, it's kind of cool just to recognize that like women in fishing, it's just something we always need to remind ourselves. Like that's pretty awesome. And that has not always been standard. And so I think when we see those things as humans, let's call that out to rectify like what had been so off for so long. I think that's pretty rad. So good on Bassmaster and Toyota. I think that's pretty cool.
Hold on a second. Where was that? Hold on. I just bought bassmasther.com.
You're terrible. You're terrible.
That's amazing.
That's fun.
Okay, moving on.
All right, somebody asked in the chat. They asked what's my favorite hard bait, and I'm going to answer Kelly because it's Kelly, right? I don't know Kelly, but hi Kelly. Kelly, my favorite hard bait, and this is the dumbest answer. I'm just going to share it. Is whatever I feel with the current conditions will allow me to catch a fish. And when I say that, I do have a favorite technique that I love catching fish on a topwater walking style bait. That's really fun for me. I love when the wind is just right coming over a point and I can draw the bite on a spinner bait because those fish react a certain way when they're chasing down a spinner bait. I really like that. Crankbaits, I'm not a huge fan of crankbaits, and I'll tell you why. Is my daughter was a great example the other night. I got her out on a dock, deep diving crank, 24, 25 feet. The whole time you're cranking it, it feels like there's a fish. She didn't know she actually had like a 2.5 pound bass. She's like, it feels weird. And that's kind of that strike you get a lot of times with deep diving cranks and things. It's not that distinct thump. And then the fish have that bait. I like using swim baits. So I don't have a favorite, but I really like baits that I have confidence in when the situation arises that bait should produce fish. I'm way into catching fish. And sometimes I try to make it harder on myself that I want to catch something on a unique way. So terrible answer to help you. But I think if you take anything away from that is if you look at the current situation in the water, the clarity, the movement, the wind, the sun, you'll pick the best bait for the conditions. So I try to fish the conditions. Keep going on our new baits.
Good answer. I'm scrolling through to see if there's which ones I'd like to talk about.
Cutting edge to wrap up the show with this brand new bait.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I am really interested in this one, and I
Okay.
don't know
Why is
why.
that? Baseball bats?
Um,
Like what?
I just think like
What do they call it?
they just call it's their finesse worm. Like it's a live target finesse worm. Like live target really like it's a surprise to me because I didn't expect to see
Yeah,
live
Live
target
Target
coming out with
makes they
soft
make things that
plastics.
yeah, but they make things that look like baits. Like I've seen
Right.
Live Target crawdads that literally you'd eat it if on accident as a human.
Yeah.
But to have a bait, those are those things again. You think of these worms, and when a fish is I don't see bass swimming around just eating worms all day. That's not
No.
what they're really doing underwater. And you throw a robo worm, a Cinco, all these different things.
Right.
The grande bass baits. What does that even look like? There's nothing in my lake that I swim around in and fish in that
Yeah.
looks like an airtail rattler, but
Right.
they get smashed. That right there, what is that? And it's kind of like almost got a spot to hook it, like it has the egg pouch up front, but do you put the hook on the back
Yeah.
end? Do you wacky it?
Well, it
It's got
says
like a
that it's got a thicker body, gradually tapering from the head to tail like a baseball bat. This design adds subtle bulk to the traditional finesse style. Blah 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 blah
that's so
blah
funny.
blah
That's
blah
I
blah.
said baseball bat right off the bat. So that's
Yeah,
their marketing pitch. It's I mean, it gives you a little body to put around the hook. That
yeah,
tail would give it a little bit more movement. Why not? Like try it again. See if
yeah.
that thing
Like when I think of
it
live
would
target, I think of baits like these, right? That are
yeah.
so lifelike.
Yep.
Like this is the live target ultimate frog, and you know everything about this from the way that the webbing on the back legs and the movement of this thing. I mean, it looks super realistic, and it swims. I don't know if you guys have ever thrown one of these before, but I threw it in the pool, and I mean, those legs look like a real frog. Like they definitely put way too much engineering and research and development into this thing. But like when it moves, it just moves, and I'm excited to let you guys know that these are going to be in the August box. So you're all going to get one of these. And what's cool, it also comes with an extra pair of legs, which I just dropped. But yeah, that was like this one was like a year in the making to get this one in the box because this came out last year at ICAST, and it took a year. A year. I placed this order last September, and you're getting it now here in August. So it took an 11 months for me to get an order. It's insane. Chris, have you ever thrown one of these?
I haven't no, and it's fun to see those big old legs flapping back there. I think in the past when I would fish, I had this misconception that the long trailer, the long worm, the fish are going to miss the hook.
Sure.
And now as I fish, like 10, 15 years of like really focusing on bass fishing, the fish are so good at apex predator movements and taking their bait by the head. I think that's something to always remind yourself is those tail, those feet, they may be flapping way back there, but that bass is coming up and they're taking it from the front very often. So
Oh, there we
I'd
go.
fish that thing.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of fun, that baseball bat. I wanted to ask you a personal question just to
Yeah.
put you right exposed as monster bass as we go to close. We've seen a
Sure.
lot of baits.
Yep.
You have a subscription box.
I do.
You now have a soft plastic, soft plastic brand. It's been around for what, 25 years.
Yes.
You see these new baseball bat soft plastics.
Mm-hmm.
Does it change your motivation now to put other brands in your box that compete with your soft plastic? How do you navigate that to kind of expose that to your followers and listeners?
Yeah.
What does that look like now that you're like, wait, I want to sell grande bass, but I want to give people these soft plastics in the box. Give us a little bit of insight as we kind of wrapping things up, because you've seen all the innovations and you're a bait maker as well with monster bass. Like, what does this mean to see all this stuff, and how do you still navigate getting us the right baits in the box?
Yeah. For me, it's really simple. I run them independently. And the only decision that I made when we first bought Grande Bass was I was going to expose the monster bass community to grande bass, but I was going to create limited edition colors of the existing lineup of baits and give those to you as part of it. Through the remainder of the year, I was going to force feed a heavy dose of grande bass because it was part of my marketing plan. But in 2025, my plan will be to include grande bass as often as I would Strike King or Z-Man. Because if there's one thing I learned in just paying attention to the market and to customer sentiment, was that Mystery Tackle Box force-fed Guggen on everybody. And I think what that did was that turned a lot of people were very upset about that they were being force-fed this. And it was the same, right? Mystery, their parent company, the old parent company Catchco had the rights to Guggen. And so they force-fed that to everyone because it was profit-driven. And I don't want to do that. I'm going to, in 2025, stick to what I said, and you'll see it either once a quarter, or once every 3 months kind of thing, with a special color. And then, of course, the only other time that you might see it back to back is if for some reason another brand's order
doesn't come out,
gets lost, doesn't come in on time. I know I'm sitting on my own inventory, so I can always backfill that in the event of an emergency. But it's not my goal. My goal is to keep them separate and have Monster Bass be the box that introduces baits to you and stays true to who it is.
No, I think it's unique. And that's like, I was wrapping my head around this from the beginning of the conversation of thinking of ICAST and bringing baits out and getting customer feedback. That's not really the customer connection through ICAST, but you have this entirely different business model where you bring baits. They don't have to necessarily be yours, and you bring them every month to an entire community that then through your business model looks for feedback, looks for customer interaction on the show. That's what we're begging for. It's like, use it, pass, or, thrash, whatever. Our strike appeal. I love the interaction with the people in the chat, people that message me personally. It's so fun to see your business model. It's almost like the antithesis of an ICAST, where you're having a mini ICAST every month with the box, but you're not just showcasing it and looking for a couple of votes. You want feedback. Did this catch fish? Did this thing work? Does it suck? What are you going to throw this again? And then you have people like, where do I buy more? I know I remember fishing with Gramps. Is like, dude, that color, my limited edition color is killing it. Now he's in panic mode because he's like, I can't buy these anywhere. So I think that's the fun piece, that you have this opportunity, not just for your own brand, but everyone else in the fishing world. Like, they're bringing something out to ICAST that they get some eyes on it, but then you can put it in a box and get it in the water in a lot of people's hands. So I think that's a cool thing that you have that opportunity to go both directions.
Yeah. And just to answer some of the questions in the chat, every box in August will have that live target frog, whether you're getting silver, gold, or platinum. Everybody's going to get one of 4 colors. What other questions were there that I didn't see? So far, not a fan of this month's Monster Bass bait. Heather, there's no
Grande Bass.
There's no Grande Bass bait in this month's box. So you might be thinking about last month, and that was the Airtail Shaky Stick. And I Yeah, I would love to know, because if I actually have one of those in a tank on my counter right now, and I put like 5 others of the best brands next to it, and they all just fall right down, and this one stands straight up. So I'm curious to know what you don't love about it, and I would definitely love to hear. So, all right, I want to take a moment because we didn't get a chance to do this, and I do want to celebrate some of the wins, and so every episode we love to celebrate your wins, and whether it's your personal best or just a catch that you're really proud of, you can upload them to monsterbass.com/pb, and they'll go into the trophy room, and we'll select a handful of them, and if we use them on the live, we'll send you a little something. My garage is super clean, and so now I know how to get to everything. I can make a box really quick, and Raphie will send it out. But let's go look at some of these. The first one today is from Elmer Moorhead, 6 pounds, 4 ounces, out of Oklahoma. He caught this on a chatterbait, and he's been a member since 2021. Alexander Adams, 6 pounds, 4 ounces on a spinner. Ryan Mudd, 7 pounds, 10 ounces in Oklahoma. That kind of looks like Oklahoma's worst angler. Or maybe just everybody in Oklahoma looks the same. I don't know. We caught that on a Ned rig. Jonathan Cleveland, 7 pounds, 2 ounces in Georgia on a popper. Yeah, he looks like he's from Georgia. Kind of looks like he should be Josh Moody's cousin. And then last but not least, our very own heartbreaker. It's T-Rex. 6 pounds, 4 ounces on the Monster Bass Ragnar. I know the color. It's called Cylon. He's got like every single one of them that exists. And so congratulations to the 5 of you. And like I said, if you've got a catch that you're proud of, we'd love to see it. We'd love to celebrate your wins and share that with the community, because that's what this is all about. So let's see. Just want to make sure. Mine was on a brown bait co yesterday. What?
Nice. We like that.
All right. Someone just
they're asking how many years have we been fishing. I'm just going to say, Kelly, I've been fishing since I can remember as a little kid. I grew up fly fishing, bass fishing with the grandpa that managed a duck hunting place in the Delta. And then about, I'm going to say 12 years ago now, I was reintroduced through my scout group. These kids were catching 6, 7, 8, 9 pound bass. And I moved back over to where I live now. And the bass fishing across the street from my house is phenomenal and have been addicted ever since. So like the last 10 plus years, fishing tournaments and kayaks, fishing some in boats, and just, I went from Mr. Wish I was surfing to Mr. Wish I was fishing. So, but spearing fish, ocean fishing, fly fishing, all those things have led up to this bass fishing addiction. So it's been a lifetime.
We got a question. Any advice for new lure users? From Linda.
Yeah, Linda, that's a good question. It just depends. I mean, again, fishing the conditions. Everyone that loves a crankbait, everyone's like, cast it, reel it back in. Crankbait is the juice. It's the greatest thing in the world. They're awesome. They work terrible if you have too much grass and you're fishing from the bank and there's pond slop and it doesn't work. So again, it's all about the conditions, the water. If there's different, if the rock outcropping calls for something, if you're trying to fish over the cover, if there's grass, if there's laydowns and lumber, the lures have to be designed to move through that area of structure or through the water to call the fish. So it really depends on the lure you're choosing. I'd say you can't really go wrong with the spinner bait other than if it's no wind, no movement, but sometimes you can still catch with the spinner bait. Throw a spinner bait out there and reel it in. It's pretty easy cast and retrieve bait. Again, the jerk bait is super fun. I make my kids, you got to catch a fish with a Ned rig, a Cinco, and a jerk bait, just because I love the idea that they have to be moving the bait on some kind of cadence to create the strike. And for me, that's just kind of fun. And it's like, oh, wait, I actually did that. I made the fish want to eat something rather than just casting and cranking it. So that for me is kind of a fun way to get people really engaged with getting the fish to that strike appeal that we learned about today. Yeah, I mean, if you've got a certain bait, this is the fun thing about the live, call in next week and ask us, tell us the bait you're using. We'll talk about the conditions you're fishing in, and we can walk you through some of the easy ways to use it, because they're all so uniquely different. As we saw all those baits today, there's so many different ways to fish all those baits, and we need to know specifically where you're fishing, what you're targeting, and then we can give you some guidance.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Well, we didn't get a chance to go through those game-changing baits, but we did learn about strike appeal. We learned about the jerk, and we learned that Heather doesn't like the rattlesnake.
The VIP. So that's all on Raphie. I'm just glad that's nothing to do with Monster Bass Box. That's not our problem.
Not my problem.
Talk to Raphie.
Yeah.
I just want to know, should we do our strike appeal roll on, or should we have it spray? That's really.
We should we're definitely going to do that.
Strike appeal. I cannot wait. Like, you're going to get bit as an angler more. So you use your strike appeal. I'm telling you, this is mainstream.
Hold on.
You're going to buy that at strikeappeal.com. Come on, get your GoDaddy. Strike appeal. I'm telling you, the marketing.
Beat him to it, Chris. Beat him to it. Go buy it.
I'm gonna spray.
I bought it.
I'm gonna spray strike appeal on my socks. Now, socks now printed with strike appeal.
Yeah.
We're going. It's gonna be incredible.
$2.99 a month. I'm gonna go buy it.
I think just me and you on the boat when you come up to fish. We're gonna spray on Strike Appeal, and then we're just gonna have the fish just following us. It's gonna be incredible.
Oh my God, the Strike Appeal is gonna be so ridiculous. All right, we don't need any professional emails. Continue to cart. I can't make this up. I'm 2 for 2 today. And
Bassmaster. Well, Bassmaster. Like I mean, we can't get too gender specific. People get mad, but all of the bass fishing hers, the females, with their new strike appeal scent. Like this is gonna be crazy. Can't believe it.
I can't make this up, Vixie. You think I'm joking? Yeah.
No, well, you know, like the little mini roll-ons, just a little testers and sunblock. Maybe like Strike Appeal sun like sun balm for your lips or whatever. Some lip gloss. Can't wait for Strike.
God, this is so good.
Yeah, no, and so all I gotta tell you is Strike Appeal is so good for forward-facing sonar. It's just proven.
Oh, it entices it.
Yeah, no, you just rub it on your hard bait, you rub it on your backwards jerk bait, you rub it on your soft plastics. It guarantees shows up tenfold on your forward-facing sonar. Strike Appeal.
I can see it. I can see next year. We're going to be all over the ICAST list.
Oh, it's going to be incredible.
God, I can't wait.
Can't wait. What a fun show. We just came up with new business models. This is good.
Yeah. I'm starting a female-led community called Bassmaster. And
yeah, you have one of the best bass fishing anglers that is now moving into a boat with Christine, and I'm sure Kelly will sign up. So congratulations on bassmaster.com.
Yeah, we're gonna sign Kelly. She's gonna be our first signing, and it's gonna be great. She's gonna be the president. There's a note that we still have Brandon waiting on the phone. Should we close with Brendan? Oh my God! All right, let's find out what he's eating for dinner.
See what he's eating for dinner. We want to hear about this.
We won't even ask him. I'm not even going to ask. Hello, Brandon.
I can't believe you guys were going to leave me hanging like that.
I didn't know.
I can't believe it.
Listen,
we got you. We got you.
This is not your show anymore, apparently. Man.
114
what
calls.
What kind of corporate people you got run this thing?
Well, you know, we've upgraded now that we are into Strike Appeal and
Bassmaster.
Like that. Yeah,
Bassmaster.
Yeah.
That's nice. Well, I just wanted to call and see if you guys are going to ICAST. I want to meet both of y'all in person.
So I've got good news and bad news for you, Brendan.
Okay.
What would you like first?
I'll take the bad news first.
The bad news is that Chris and I can't come to ICAST this year for some very important reasons. We've got to film our Strike Appeal commercials, and and so we can't go. Very important. However, for everyone that's tuning in at home, if you're having to be at ICAST or in the vicinity and you can sneak your way in, or you've got a guest pass, or if you'd like, I have 4 extra passes that are, you'd have to pretend that you're Rick Patry. Or a few other people that may or may not work for my company anymore. You could have those badges, and you could head over to booth 5560 and see Raphie over at the Grande Bass booth. And in case you're wondering, like, who he's near, he's you can't miss him. He's right near Captain Closeout, and Sig Sauer knives. And Yak Attack. Now, Yak Attack has a 10. Oh my God, they got a 20 by 30 booth.
They got cool stuff. Yeah, they got great stuff.
Yeah. So there you have it. 5560 booth number, and you can head over to Grande Bass, and you can meet Raphie. You can get signatures from Cupcake Coley. Sorry, I meant autographs, or from Matt Brown, famous. So there you have it, Brandon.
Well, shoot, I'm going to have Raphie sign something for me.
Yeah.
I got to find something.
Yeah, hopefully you can find him. Hopefully you can find him there.
Yeah, let us know if he actually makes it. So be nice.
Yeah.
He might just be like going on a cruise ship or something.
He might. Now, how did you get a pass, Brendan? I know you're big in the industry.
I guess you could say I'm big in the industry. I don't
Oh.
really know, but
What
yeah,
pro-
I just went with my buddies at a mold company, Do It Molds.
Oh, I've heard of them. Are they big? I'm just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, slightly big. I don't know. I don't know.
Do It Mold. Now, do they have a
Don't know.
booth?
Yeah, I believe they have a booth this year as well. I think they've been going for a long time at ICAST anyway. But I'm pretty sure they have a booth there.
Yeah.
It might be under Victory Hooks. I'm not sure.
Oh, I didn't know that they were Victory Hooks.
I'm pretty sure they are because they have those on their website. I think they were stalled next to each other last year. I believe they own
Interesting.
them.
I
Or
see Do
one
It
owns
Mold.
the other. I'm not sure which.
Do It Molds has actually a really legit location. So if you've been to ICAST, there's a double walkway that goes down, that kind of intersects, and the major walkway that goes right by the lure tank. Do It Molds is right across from them. So they carry some weight in the industry. So good stuff. So did you before I let you go, because we've got to go celebrate our strike appeal stuff. Do you want to tell us about the jerk?
The Credge.
Of course.
What do you got on the Credge? Yeah.
Give
us your insight.
I'm personally not a biggest Berkeley fan of all time. You know, they make some okay baits. They make some knockoffs. They make some okay ones that are, and then they just make some other bad baits. The Credge, or that jerk spelled backwards, that one's an interesting bait. I'm happy they tried something different. At least they're trying. Is it a great bait? I don't really know. I haven't had a chance to use it, but looking at it just in the pictures and in the swim videos and everything, seems like an interesting bait. I don't know. But in fact, the way the bait is built and the way it sinks, since it sinks tail down, it will go backwards when it is sinking. Not when pulled forward, but when it sinks. So, because it's weighted on the tail and the line ties up top and that lip is just angled upwards, it's going to sink backwards pretty much. Probably not a ton, probably not much more than a foot or two, but so that's it.
Yeah, and that's what I was. Yeah, I've seen the videos, and that's that whole thing is how long is your pause? How long are you letting it suspend? The momentum of the thing going forward. Mm-hmm. I've seen the videos where they barely give it a twitch, that it moves it about 6 inches forward, and then it does fall backwards. That could work maybe wintertime fishing, but probably not how I'm fishing a jerk bait. Not going to have it sit there long enough to actually move backwards. But I like you. Exactly. Something new, something worth trying, and good for them for trying to, break the mold of something different. But the fish are going to prove it. That's the beauty of this sport. You put that bait into enough different people's hands, they're going to figure out whether the fish like it or not. And then whether the pros tell you the truth, the cool part about video and what's going on with technology, we get to see what people are fishing with in tournaments when they're trying to win a lot of money. And that is an important piece to recognize. Is a lot of times in the old days, they would go out and fish all day long. They'd come back and then they'd hold up whatever they're paid to tell you they caught fish with. Now we get the inside view. We get to see what they're using to basically earn their paycheck. So that's kind of a fun piece. We'll see if that Credge is on the end of somebody's line when they're casting for $100,000. So, time's going to tell. I'm excited, man.
Another interesting thing about that weird, people saying this person knocked off this bait. And another thing is I'm thinking is maybe they're doing it on purpose so that pros can use the original and they can market and make money off of their version, their knockoff version. Because it's happened a lot. You'll see pros fishing a bait, the original, and they will be fishing the original and they have their own knockoff version from their sponsor. And I'm wondering, I'm guessing that's probably partially, some of what they're doing,
sometimes they put something. Do it in production just so somebody can use the original that they're comfortable with. So I'm sure that's happened. I just hope nobody knocks off our strike appeal.
No one will.
It's really all I care about right now.
He has the website now.
We're going to Dr. Pepper. I don't know. There's 30 something ingredients. We got to work on our ingredients list tonight, Rick. So this is exciting. So Brennan, just before you go, this is the most important question I'm going to ask everybody now when I meet them. Spray or roll on?
Okay.
What's the choice? What do you like? Deodorant, spray or roll on? What do you go for?
Roll on, of course.
Yeah. All right.
Come on.
Wait.
Sorry.
Roll on or
Who
stick?
sprays it on?
Roll on or
People
stick?
actually.
So I'm
Well,
Old
roll on
Spice.
is a stick.
No.
Yeah, so roll on is weird. Nobody, I don't even know. Like I'm saying,
The
roll
Old-
on, but stick.
The Old
So,
Spice,
Old
it
Spice.
has a little twist at the bottom, and you
Yeah,
twist
Old
that up.
Spice.
You're too young.
Right?
You're too young to know.
No, he doesn't
You're
know
too
what the
young to know
roll on. There
Air
used to be
Dex.
there was a weird ball in it. He's trying to explain to you like
band
for
roll
people in
on.
that was like the 70s, and they're
Yeah.
like that was the worst thing ever.
Yeah, and
No,
then
stick.
air it extra dry spray in a blue can.
Yeah, it's
Never-
like foam. No,
Never
you
heard
don't
of
know.
that before.
Okay, I
No.
gotta update my question. Stick or spray? So all right, good. We got our answer.
There you go. All right,
Thanks,
man.
dude.
Well, listen, enjoy ICAST. I hope you have a great time. And
Alrighty.
yeah, I hope you get to see Raphie and the guys, and
Have fun.
can't wait to hear what you think about it.
Yeah. Well, already.
All
Well,
right.
hopefully, I'll see you all next year then.
I will be
I've
there.
yet to shake y'all's hands.
I will be there next year, guaranteed.
I'm committing. I'm going. We got our new.
Okay.
We got our
All
new. We got all
Or
kinds
the
of
classic.
business
The
meetings.
classic. We're gonna.
The classic for sure.
So,
Let's do them all.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
Thanks.
all right, Brendan.
All right.
We'll
cool.
see you later, man.
Well, y'all have a good one.
All right, you too.
Talk to you
See
later.
you, buddy.
All right, man. All right, that was a great show. We went a little over, so I'm going to let you go so you can go have dinner with the family, and
Done.
I can go get some tacos.
Let's do it. All right, man.
So-
We'll do it again next week.
All right, I'll see you in about an hour so we can figure out the strike appeal.
Sounds good. All right. See you.
All right, bye.